Can you see the future in a crystal ball? Maybe not. But you can make informed predictions by adding the right analytics to your data. That often means moving it out of data silos, such as an application's transactional Oracle database. In this video, we'll set up an example Docker instance of an Oracle database. This will help us explore the requirements of capturing Oracle source data with Estuary. When you think of a typical database, you likely default to a SQL-based relational database. Oracle Database, the flagship product of the Oracle Corporation, fits this model to a T. This typical database can be a reliable transactional option to back applications. But typical doesn't mean one size fits all. Especially as applications grow, there's increasing pressure to offload more query-intensive analytics processes to specialty analytical databases to avoid impacting production workloads. Whether you want to migrate data from Oracle for a transactional to analytical pipeline, or a more permanent move like freeing your data from vendor lock-in, you have options. One common method to track and replicate changes in database systems is CDC, or change data capture. Different databases have different ways to implement CDC, and Oracle actually has a whole host of options. Estuary uses LogMiner, which is mainly relevant for our purposes because of how it interacts with the archive log. Oracle stores all changes made on a database in the ready log. Intended for recovery, Oracle only stores these logs for a set retention period. We can make use of this log for CDC, with the caveat that a longer retention period will help provide leeway for downtime. If the data transfer gets interrupted, as long as we still have all of the relevant archive logs, we should be able to pick back up where we left off. So let's check out a demo. I have here a simple Docker setup with a compose file and a SQL init. Now, for my compose file, I start with the free Oracle database image for version 23.6. You can build your own copy of the image by downloading Oracle's Docker Images repo. Find the image you want to use, and in your local directory, run the correct build command. In this case, the build container image command, with the version flag for 23.6 and the flag for the free database. We're going to build off this basic image. Since version 21c, Oracle has focused on a container architecture for their databases. This essentially splits the database into multiple containers, with a root database that handles metadata and a pluggable database, or PDB, containing application data. For the rest of this demo, we'll focus on a container database setup, but Estuary also supports non-container instances all the way back to version 11G. See our docs for setup details for these cases. In the rest of our compose file, we set up port mapping, copy our init script and define a place to save our test database data so it persists, and set up the environment. We'll need to provide a root password, and to use CDC on the archive log, we'll need to actually enable the archive log. We also outline an ngrok container, which will help us expose our local database to the public internet, so that we can actually connect it to Estuary later. Add your ngrok auth token to link it to your account. Their TCP functionality is only available for verified accounts. Now let's look at how we'll initialize our database. Essentially, we want to create a new user specific to Estuary, grant that user the permissions it will need for CDC, and ensure our tables are set up for logging. Note that container database users need C## at the beginning of the username, and we're specifying container equals all. We grant our user read access. Here, it's to all tables for simplicity, but you can also pick and choose specific tables. And we grant our user the ability to read metadata and use LogMiner. We also create a new table, a watermarks table. This will act as a scratch sheet to help our user keep its place while reading data. And we enable supplemental logging. You'll need to run all these commands in one form or another for any Oracle database you want to connect to Estuary, demo or not. The rest of the init file simply sets up a tiny test table so we can verify our connection later. Then we're ready to run our container. Once you've set your own passwords and auth tokens, open a terminal in your project directory and run Docker Compose up. It will take a couple minutes to set up your database and run the init script. When that's done, we're still not quite ready to connect with Estuary. Instead, we're going to take a peek inside our running container. Check your container name with Docker PS. Then open a bash session with Docker exec, inserting your container name. Start up Oracle's Recovery Manager tool with RMAN, and log in as a database administrator. Enter the password from your Docker Compose file. We can see what the current retention policy is. By default, it's based on redundancy, or the number of backup files, not length of time. Not quite what we're looking for our CDC use case. So we can set it with the command configure retention policy to recovery window of 7 days. If you show the configuration parameters, you can see that the policy has changed. Then kick off a backup to create your first archived log. You can do this with the command backup database plus archive log. With that, we're done with the setup and can switch to Estuary to finally ingest some data. In the Estuary dashboard, create a new source capture for an Oracle database. Real-time, not batch, since we went to the trouble of enabling CDC capabilities. Give it a name, and fill out the configuration. We can find the server address in our ngrok dashboard. It will list the endpoint it's using to expose our database. Copy the host and port, not the protocol, and add it to Estuary, because localhost isn't going to cut it. Since we're using a container database, and a free one at that, we need to modify the defaults. The username needs the container database prefix, and the Oracle database name changes to free. The password is whatever you set for the user in your SQL init script. Click Next. Estuary will discover your available tables. Save and publish for Estuary to start streaming updates to data collections associated with each table. We can check out our collections to confirm that Estuary picked up the rows from our test table. From this toy instance, we have the tools for real Oracle CDC. We have the commands for granting permissions to a new user and configuring the archive log, and know there are differences whether an Oracle instance is a container database or not. For complete copy-pastable commands and more examples, see our docs and other resources. Explore other source connectors and find out where to send your data next, all at estuary.dev.